Hi, Andy XL back with part one of my week 16 preview of the regular season, which is just going to cover the Thursday night game. Part two will come out on Saturday for the two Saturday games. Parts three and four will cover the Sunday games. So let's get into it. 3 weeks left in the regular season, and this is now crunch time for teams seeking to make the postseason, win divisions, or gain top seeding in their conference. After week 15, we have 19 teams in contention for those 14 postseason spots. Two teams, the Broncos and Rams, have already booked their place, so there's 19 going for 12 remaining places, with five in contention for AFC top seeding and six in contention for the top spot in the NFC, whilst all the division titles are still up for grabs, although the Broncos and Eagles have all but won their divisions. So who will rise to the challenge in week 16 and who will fall short? For the record, I got 11 of 16 when it's correct last week. That makes me 67.77% for the season, meaning I need to get 38 right in the final 3 weeks to hit my pre-season target of 70% for the season. So 12 or 13 is my target for this week. And as I say, this part is going to look just at the Los Angeles Rams at Seattle Seahawks game that takes place on Thursday night. So week 16 kicks off with a game that could well decide who enters the postseason as the number one seed in the NFC. That top seeding could increase that team's chances of winning it all this season from 15 to 20% to 35 to 40%. That is how big not having to play that extra game in the uber tough NFC postseason bracket could be. The Rams come into this game with a second-ranked offense and eighth-ranked defense in the league and face a Seahawks team that ranks seventh for offense and third for defense. So they're both really good teams. This will certainly be a quality matchup. As it was in week 11 when the Rams edged it in LA by 2 points on the back of four Sam Darnold picks from Seattle. In that game, the ground offenses were very evenly matched. The Seahawks produced more in the passing game, but those four picks from Darnold were the deciding factor in that game. One bit of injury news that relevant to this game, Devontae Adams was held to just one catch on 8 targets in that game, and he looks like he's going to miss this one with a hamstring injury, which that may not be as devastating a loss as it may seem, although it could allow the Seahawks to double team Puka Nacua more as a result. So that could mean the Rams D will need to deliver again as it did via the Darnold picks in the first game. Now, I'm not saying they need to get 4 picks in this game to win it, but if they can limit the Seahawks offense, it takes the pressure off Stafford and Nacua to an extent. For that reason, the Rams are actually for the season, the Rams are actually the 10th best team for opposing wide receivers to face, whereas the Seahawks are the third toughest to face and have allowed the least yardage to wide receivers this season. The Seahawks have not been as good against tight ends, though. The Rams have been pretty good against them. The Rams are the toughest and the Seahawks third toughest for opposing running backs to face, so it could be a tough week work on the ground for both offenses. Both teams have been adept at getting picks, so it's not only Darnold that needs to be careful in that regard here. It would look like Jackson Smith and Jigba, Rashid Shaheed and Cooper Kupp need to deliver for the Seahawks, whilst Puka Nacua and their triumvirate of tight ends, Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, and Terrence Ferguson, could be key for the Rams. But this has the look of a close game where turnovers could be even more critical than they usually are. On that front, I know Darnold had 4 of them in that first game, but he has 11 for the season and has 78 picks in 88 career starts. Now, Matthew Stafford had a bit of a penchant for interceptions early in his long career, but has just 5 to his name this season and 95 in his last 133 games. So he's learned to be more cautious in the passing game. Darnold got undone a bit by schemes in defensive schemes from the Rams in the first game. So who's going to have learned and adapted for this game will be interesting, but it could be critical. And the Seahawks being without left tackle Charles Cross could also help the Rams pass rush in their attempts to disrupt Darnold in the passing game. Now, I can see the Rams trying to implement a short yardage passing game to Nacua and the tight ends, whereas the Seahawks and Darnold may have to take more risks downfield. So I think that could lead to the turnovers going in the Rams' favour and ultimately give them the win here. Now, normally I give out fantasy picks in this game, But really, outside of the obvious ones like Nakua and Jackson Smith and Jigba, but they're both going to potentially see double teams here. So I can see the wealth being shared across the teams here. So there's actually no standout fantasy pick in this game for me. But what I will say is I'm going to take the Rams to win it. I just think they're a better quality team all round. The Seahawks are making the most of what they've got, but there's still vulnerabilities there um, in terms of Sam Darnold and throwing picks against a good Rams defense. So I'm going to take the Rams to win it by 24-20. Okay, well, that wraps up this part one of a preview. Like I say, um, next part will be part two on Saturday, but keep an eye out for upcoming pieces related to the draft for 2026, where I'm looking at the positions and giving you a December update. I've just recently done ones on the offensive linemen, the defensive tackles, defensive ends, and outside linebackers, inside linebackers, and safeties will be coming out in the next day or so as well. So keep an eye out for them. But enjoy tonight's game and the rest of this week's action. See you soon.